In 1962, 3 men vanished from the most secure prison in America. No one has ever proven whether they survived or drowned trying. This is the only escape from Alcatraz that was never fully solved. Alcatraz sat alone in the middle of San Francisco Bay, surrounded by freezing water, powerful currents, and a reputation that terrified even the bravest inmates. The island itself was part of the prison. Most people believed there was simply no way out. Even if someone managed to escape their cell, the bay would almost certainly kill them before they ever reached land. For years, Alcatraz earned a reputation as America's escape-proof prison. Criminals feared it, guards trusted it, and in its entire history as a federal prison, no one had ever escaped and survived. But in 1962, 3 prisoners looked at this impossible prison and believed they had found a way out. Their names would soon become part of one of America's greatest mysteries. Among the inmates was Frank Morris. He wasn't the strongest prisoner, he wasn't the most violent either. What made him different was his intelligence. From an early age, Morris had spent much of his life inside reform schools, juvenile institutions, and prisons. But wherever he was sent, one pattern kept repeating itself. He escaped. Again and again. Prison officials believed his IQ was around 133, making him one of the smartest inmates ever sent to Alcatraz. Instead of seeing prison walls, he saw problems waiting to be solved. In the cells beside him were 2 brothers, John Anglin and Clarence Anglin. The brothers had grown up together, worked on farms, and were skilled at repairing and building things with their hands. They weren't famous criminals, but they were patient, disciplined, and willing to take enormous risks. Over months, the 3 men slowly built trust. Then, they began talking about something that sounded completely impossible. Not escaping a single prison cell, but escaping Alcatraz itself. If they succeeded, they would become legends. If they failed, the icy waters of San Francisco Bay would almost certainly become their final destination. But having an idea was only the beginning. Turning that idea into reality would take months of patience and almost perfect timing. Every single night, after the prison became quiet, Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers went back to work, using nothing more than stolen metal spoons, pieces of scrap metal, and homemade tools. They slowly chipped away at the concrete around the air vents inside their cells. Progress was painfully slow. Sometimes they worked for hours only to remove a tiny piece of concrete. Every sound mattered. Whenever footsteps echoed through the corridor, they stopped immediately, hid their tools, and acted as if nothing had happened. Night after night, week after week, month after month, the opening behind each vent became larger. Eventually, it was just wide enough for a man to squeeze through. But escaping the cells was only the first step. Behind the walls, they discovered an unused utility corridor. It became the secret pathway that connected their cells to the upper levels of the prison. The escape required much more than digging. If the guards looked into their cells during the night, everything would be over. So the men came up with another remarkable idea. They created lifelike dummy heads using soap, toilet paper, paint, and real human hair collected from the prison barbershop. In the darkness, the fake heads looked almost real, just convincing enough to fool the guards during their nightly inspections. For months, They prepared every tiny detail. They knew they would only have one chance. And when that night finally arrived, there would be no turning back. The following morning, everything changed. The prison guards began their morning inspection, just like every other day. Nothing seemed unusual. The cells were quiet, the blankets were in place, the prisoners appeared to be sleeping, but one guard decided to take a closer look, and within seconds, the truth was revealed. The heads on the pillows were fake. They had been made from soap, paper, concrete dust, and real human hair collected from the prison barbershop. The escape had worked. The prisoners were gone. No one knew when they had left. No one knew where they had gone. Within minutes, Alcatraz was locked down. Every officer on the island joined the search. The FBI was called. The Coast Guard entered the bay. Police boats searched the freezing water. Helicopters circled overhead for hours. Every possible escape route was examined. Every report was investigated. Every witness was questioned. But the three men had simply disappeared. Days later, search teams recovered several objects: a homemade life jacket, pieces of rubber believed to be from the raft, a waterproof bag, and a few personal belongings. These discoveries proved one thing: the escape had reached the water, but they did not answer the biggest question. What happened next? Did the raft survive the powerful currents? Did the men reach the mainland? Or did they disappear beneath the freezing water forever? No bodies were ever found. No confirmed evidence proved they had died. But no confirmed evidence proved they had survived either. The investigation continued for years, then for decades. The FBI collected thousands of pages of evidence. Every new lead was examined. Every reported sighting was investigated. People claimed they had seen Frank Morris. Others believed the Anglin brothers were still alive. But every lead ended the same way, without proof. Then, more than 50 years later, the mystery became even stranger. In 2013, authorities received a handwritten letter. The writer claimed to be John Anglin. According to the letter, Frank Morris had died years earlier. John and Clarence had survived the escape. They had lived quietly for decades, under different names, far away from public attention. The writer even offered to surrender under certain conditions. The FBI examined the letter. Experts studied the handwriting. They searched for physical evidence, but nothing could prove that the letter was real. Even today, no one knows who actually wrote it. Eventually, the FBI officially closed the investigation. Their conclusion remained the same. The three men most likely drowned, but most likely is not the same as certainty, because no bodies were ever recovered. That single fact has kept the mystery alive for more than 60 years. Today, millions of people visit Alcatraz every year. They walk through the same prison. They stand inside the same cells. They look at the small hole behind the vent. They see the fake heads. They follow the path the prisoners once followed, and almost everyone leaves thinking about the same question. Did three ordinary prisoners really defeat the most secure prison in America? Or did the ocean hide the truth forever? Maybe. The answer still lies somewhere beneath the cold waters of San Francisco Bay. And maybe the greatest prison escape in American history will remain a mystery forever.